hit the record button. Once again, good morning, and thank you for joining us. My name is Grace Corrigan, and I am an employment specialist for Insight. You can keep your cameras on. We love to see your faces, but we just ask that you keep your microphone muted while the session's going on, just to eliminate any kind of background noise or chatter. And before we start, I'd like to share a little bit about Insight. We're a nonprofit organization. We were founded back in 2004, and our mission is changing hearts and minds, leveraging obstacles, and unlocking potential. So we do this through two major programs. One is education, and the other is employment. And we focus on helping individuals with disabilities and barriers. And if you're interested in finding out more about our programs or the services we offer, please go to our website, insight.org, or give us a call. We'd be happy to hear from you. Now, jobsnow.org is part of our employment program. And one of the ways we connect with job seekers is through these GetAhead events, which are standalone workshops created to give job seekers from all abilities additional tools and resources for their job search. And if you're interested in viewing any past events, they are up on our website. It's jobsnow.org, and feel free to go there and glean from past events. We also put on job fairs, and our next in-person job fair is on Tuesday, March 5th, and it's at the Northwest Natural Building, downtown Portland. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to have you join us. And after this session, what I'll do is I'll send everybody an email with an advertisement and a link where you can register for that event. So today our workshop is going to explore employment opportunities within the public sector. And we are honored to have Claudia Hamilton with us. So welcome, Claudia. And I will hand it over to you, and you can share a little bit about yourself and your presentation.
Thank you. Let me get my screen up for y'all. Can everybody see it?
Yep, it's up.
Okay. And it didn't go to the slideshow. I'm just going to go ahead and go with it like this.
It won't click on, if you click on slideshow, it's not going there?
No.
Huh.
So if you don't mind my top toolbar up top, I can go through it like this, if that's fine.
Do you want to maybe close and try again just to see if we can get it as a full screen?
Okay.
Thank you.
Where is it now? Hold on just one second. No, it's still not going to the.
Well, I do have your PowerPoint here. Well, there you go.
But the toolbar still.
Huh. Well, everyone, it did work for us when we tested it. Just so you know.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, Claudia, go ahead. That's, we can, this is fine. We can see it.
Okay, so I'm Claudia Hamilton. I'm the Talent Acquisition Coordinator at Oregon State University. I've been with the university for about 5 years and in human resources for 18. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with y'all about the public sector along with where to find our positions. Our agenda for today is what is the public sector? Why work for the public sector? Where you can find these positions, how to apply, then preparing and interviewing for the positions. The public sector consists of organizations owned and operated by the government. This includes federal, state, and local governments such as county and city. Why is it called the public sector? The primary objective of the public sector is to provide basic goods and services to the community and promote economic development. Examples of public sector entities are the police force, fire department, public libraries, national parks, and public transportation. It also includes education, social services, and post offices. The majority of each branch, like the city or county or higher ed, is that we have multiple little communities within the sector. So you might see multiple positions that have the same title, but they're for a specific department. Like if you go to the state of Oregon's website, you'll see it broken down into kind of like health and human services or transportation. So you'll want to look at all of the all the positions that they have open to see what you're qualified for. Why work for the public sector is the benefits. It's all about the benefits and work-life balance, right? We all want to work, but have time for our private lives as well. Most of the public sector they offer a comprehensive benefit package designed to meet the needs of the employees and their families. That includes medical, dental, vision, and basic life. For instance, OSU covers 95% of those benefits. When I was in the private industry, I had to pay into my health insurance, like $125 per paycheck. So most of your benefits are 95% paid. And it includes mental health now and emotional support services along with counseling resources. The retirement plans are awesome with employer contribution, and we call it after 5 years you're vested, so you will never lose that money, and you can also contribute into it. We have generous paid leave packages, including holidays, vacation, and sick leave. Our holidays, we get 11 holidays off. Vacation, depending on the position, you'll either accrue 8 to 12 hours of vacation a month. So that means like at 12 hours a month, you're getting 60 hours of vacation a year. Whereas with the public sector, you might get a week's vacation at the very in the first year and maybe 2 weeks after that. Sick leave, you'll get 8 hours of sick leave a month, and that equals out to 60 hours of sick leave a year, and you're able to receive that at the very beginning of your tenure with the county, city, state, and be able to utilize it. Where you can find our positions, the best thing is to find in your city or county that you live in, or the public sector that you most identify with, go to their website, directly to the website, so you can see what their postings are, and sign up for their interest codes or job alerts so that you're notified when a position comes up. Like I would do it under human resources, and although they may not have a position available immediately, I'll get tagged with emails to tell me when a position comes up. But you can also find our positions on LinkedIn, and I put our Oregon State page. All of our jobs are scraped into our LinkedIn page and appear on that page. Glassdoor and Indeed scrape our website, so all of our positions, along with all the federal, state, and local governments, they all appear on Indeed, and then ZipRecruiter does the same. Applying for positions, make sure that you tailor your application, cover letter, and resume to every position. Make sure that if you have an objective on your resume, that you change that for every specific position that you're applying to. People, employers, when they look at a resume and they see that you haven't changed that objective to their position, they're not going to review your resume. It's attention to detail. It's making sure that you're addressing the position for the one that you're applying for. Incorporate keywords from the job listing. That's important because then they would know that you have read over the position description and you're tailoring your resume or your application towards that. I see Sylvia has a question.
Sylvia, do you
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Thank you for that. Is it possible to have your professional statement, as I've heard it otherwise called?
Okay.
Is it possible to do like a generic elevator pitch to a position that has many of these same requirements as other positions? For example, if you, one position may be called office clerk, another may be called administrative assistant, but they all have overlapping requirements, such as filing, answering phones, sorting mail, etc. Is it possible to have all of that in there generically, or must you tailor it to a specific position?
I would tailor it to the specific position, and that's just for your objective. When you go down to hit your bullet points of your key responsibilities or skill sets that you have, you can keep those the same as long as the position description that you are applying for has those key responsibilities. It's really important that when we review a resume is that they're talking specifically to the position applying for. Does that answer your question, Sylvia? Hannah?
So when you're saying tailor your objective, would you actually include the position title in the objective? Like when would you want to be that specific? Like, I'm applying for the administrative, or I'm looking for an administrative assistant role.
You can like, for me, I would say under objective is that I'm looking for a human resource assistant position that will challenge my skill sets, or let's see. So I'm trying to think.
Find some of those keywords that are in the job description to like kind of pop out at them of like, if they use the word inclusion, or if they use the word like attention to detail, that I'm including those.
Yes, I would do that. And since you brought up like diversity and inclusion, you would focus on human resources that includes diversity and inclusion, and working with employees that will benefit the company. Something of the sort where you're tailoring it specifically and using the keywords would be great.
Okay, so you're basically saying you don't have to put the exact position title that you're applying for, but use some of those keywords.
Yes, and you were using an example of administrative, so your objective would be to obtain a administrative position in which you could, and then use our keywords. Pamela?
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to share that in another workshop that I was in, uh, Claudia, when you say tailor, they had specified like really plagiarize, like take phrases, not just keywords, like an entire phrase from the job posting. And personally, the way that I do this is not just in my objective. I do list the job title and the company name in my objective, saying I want to apply my experience to a fast-paced role at a fast-paced this title role with this company. And then as far as the key words, I go to the job posting and I pick out things where they're looking for these responsibilities. Oh, I've performed that at this particular job that I had before. So I go down to what my responsibilities were or my achievements were in my employment history, and I put that bullet point from their job posting into that section of my resume, because the whole idea of adding these keywords or these phrases is because your resume is not getting to an employment officer's desk. It's not sliding onto somebody's desk in HR. It's going through an algorithm that is a computer. And in order to get on the desk, you want to teach the algorithm that you are exactly the candidate for this job because your resume has more keywords and phrases than anybody else. So that, I think that's, to summarize, Claudia, I think that's the idea of picking out these keywords.
And that's true. But I can say for our ATS system, we review, we have search committees that are set up for every hiring, every position that we're hiring for. So ours are actually by eye. And a lot of the public sector uses that because it supports more of the inclusion and equity, that every candidate is getting reviewed based on the position's minimum qualifications and preferred qualifications. So private sector, yes, you want, if it's going through this system that's the AI system, it's going to target those keywords and move those applicants forward. In the public sector, it's a lot different. Like I said, the search committees review every application or resume and cover letter, let's just say application materials, to make sure the candidate is qualified. So when they look, they're looking for the specific requirements and the minimum qualifications. And I'll show you guys a posting soon that's live to show you exactly, because that's on my next slide of tips when applying for our positions, what to do. So I'll cover that. But keywords, yes, very important. And it also makes you, I say it makes you look smarter when you have those keywords in there and those phrases. So it takes more, you get more notice through it. But we do everything by eye. So it depends on the company. Does that help, Pamela? Okay. Neil.
Hi, Claudia. Go Beavers. Thanks for being here today. And I admit I work a lot with job seekers and resume development, and I admit, and you can call me guilty, but I've gone away completely from having having job seeker put in an objective statement.
Hmm.
Is that going to be detrimental to somebody applying for the public sector?
No, it's not detrimental. That's just the way that resumes are set up. You know, if you go to a professional site, they have that. If you don't have that on your resume, it's not gonna, for us, it doesn't signify anything, because we also have academic candidates that don't even put that on there. So have it on there or don't have it on there. We're really not judging your resume by that. I'm just talking about if you do put an objective on your resume, you need to make sure that you have it directed towards the position you're applying for.
Okay.
Don't have one that, don't submit the same resume to every job position you're applying for.
Great.
Does
Thanks
that
so much.
help?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sorry, Siri's going off. Sylvia, do you have another question?
Did I forget to take my hand down?
You did.
Sorry. Oh,
It's
thank you.
okay.
And Claudia, I recognize you because you used to work at Select Temp here in Albany.
I thought you looked familiar. Yes, I did. So I spent about 12 years in the staffing industry. And so I've done a lot of hiring for private industry as well. So y'all can ask me questions about that. But right now I'm looking to talk about the public sector, and it's good to see you, Sylvia. So let's see. Also in your resume, and your application, include associations you belong to and volunteer experience. And then make sure that you're following instructions. Make sure that you run spell check, you proofread everything a few times, and most importantly, take your time applying. Make sure you're just filling it out exactly as is requested from the position description. Next, I'm going to go to tips for applying to public sector positions. For OSU or public sector positions, you must meet and address all minimum qualifications in your application material. Which means is when we have a posting up, we'll have the minimum qualifications or what you must have, stating like 2 years of general clerical experience and experience in a position that included event support or coordination. So you must show in your application materials that you have those 2 years of general clerical experience and experience in a position that included event support and coordination. If you don't have those listed in your application materials, you will not move forward, because it's not if this then that, it's you have to have it. And our search committees will check it off like, okay, I see 2 years of clerical experience. Okay, I see it in event coordination and support. Oh, wait, they don't have this one listed. Okay, so they don't have that experience. They're going to move them into the pile that does not move forward. Does that make sense? Okay, and then we also have preferred qualifications. So if you can address all the preferred qualifications that you have as well, when the search committee is reviewing and they see that you meet all the minimum qualifications, they're then going to go to the preferred qualifications and they'll check mark, okay, they do have a bachelor's degree and experience included in oversight of business operations. So that puts you ahead of other applicants, meaning that if people just meet minimum qualifications, they're in a pile that possibly can move forward to the interview process. But if they have more candidates that meet those minimums and then they meet all the preferred the search committee is going to move forward with those 5 candidates that meet the preferred as well. And go back to just the minimum if they do not have a good, if they didn't have, after conducting the first phone interview, they don't think they have a good pool of candidates. I'm going to go to my job board. Oh, I got just 1 second. Oh, I can look at that. I'll show you guys an exact posting at the very end. Does anybody have any questions over the minimum and preferred? Okay. Preparing for the interview. Make sure that you research the company that you're going to interview with. Checking out what's really important, what services they provide, maybe what their diversity and inclusion statements like, or mission statement, just so that you know when you're answering questions during the interview, what's most important to that organization. Review the job description a few times so that you have talking points in your head on how to answer questions during the interview. I always like to Google typical questions asked during an interview, and then how to best answer these questions. There's a lot of information on the internet. Utilize those resources because they'll have bullet points out there of what is the best answer. And you can make that your own when answering questions. And then practice answering interview questions. You want to make sure that when you go into an interview that you're able to put together constructive answers for the committee or the people that you're interviewing with. Prepare a set of questions to be asked at the end of the interview. Make sure you dress for success. Overdress, really. You want to make a great impression. Arrive early for the interview, so no snags. Make sure you have your clothes all ready to go for the next day, and bring a copy of your resume. When interviewing, oh, there we go. Be prepared. Have a 30-second commercial ready to go when you, because a 30-second commercial about yourself ready, because the first question they're going to say is, tell me a little bit about yourself, right? So you're going to say that you've had so much experience. I'm trying to think. With the 30-second commercial, you're going to be talking about how you can do the position that they're asking you about. Make sure that you listen to each question asked. Sometimes they ask multiple questions in one question, so you need to really pay attention to that. Remain positive and avoid negative comments. And don't talk bad about your past employer. Ask questions. Some questions could consist of, can you explain the day-to-day responsibilities, or describe the characteristics of someone who would succeed in this position? Just make sure that you have like 3 to 5 questions so that they know that you've done your homework. And at the end, reinforce your interest in the position.
So Lori is asking, is it okay to bring a list of questions to the interview?
Yes, it is okay.
And then Sylvia's got her hand up again. Do you have a different question, Sylvia?
More of just a comment, really. One, is the local employment department will be more than happy to do mock interviews with anybody to help. Two is you never know if you're going to have a one-on-one interview or if it's going to be a panel interview. So bring more than one copy of your resume to the interview. And during the interview, ask them if they wouldn't mind you taking notes during the interview so that that will let them know that you're interested in their answers. For me, if I write it down, it helps me remember better. So that's why I would ask. You don't have to ask that question, but it's just a little tip that I picked up. So those are the three things that I just wanted to pop in there and encourage others to do. Is that okay, Claudia?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
Sylvia. You brought up some good points. Okay, so after the interview, you should write a thank you note. And I put some little key tips on how to, what to do for that thank you note. Address the email to the person who interviewed you and make sure you spell their name correctly. For us, it's the search committee. So you would put it to the attention of the search committee chair. Thank the person for their time and consideration. Briefly highlight your draw to the organization, what you really appreciate about that organization. Express your continued interest in the job opportunity, and then also offer to answer any questions if they have further questions to be asked. So that's the end of my presentation. I want to thank you guys for being here. And if you have any further questions, I can answer them now.
Okay, a while back, Matthew said he had a question about the ATS system. And he's wondering, does it happen on Indeed or just online applications? Did you want to address that, please?
Sure. It happens when you apply directly to the position. So, for example, if there's a posting on Indeed, it will, if you click into it, you go further, it should redirect you to the employer's website to continue to apply. And that's where it would go through their system and qualify the people that are indeed that have the keywords to filter out applications and resumes.
Thanks for calling the claims department. This call may be monitored or recorded. 455-939-600. Reported.
Somebody needs to mute their mic because we're hearing background noise, please. And then Claudia, I find, quite a few job seekers that I've talked to, they're kind of intimidated by that ATS because they're not too sure, but you kind of hit the points is, covering keywords, make sure that, how your resume reads, how your application reads, that everything matches that position. Because if it doesn't, you will be kicked out. And, there is a possibility nobody will ever look at your resume. So that's just kind of the world of technology nowadays. And even though, it is intimidating and we don't like it, it is a reality. And of course, we want to put our best foot forward and make sure somebody does get to see our resume and our qualifications.
Exactly. And I know it's tough applying for positions and, you have to apply for so many that, and it takes a lot of time to customize your resume or application directly to the one you're applying for. So, but know this, that throwing something throwing something in applying for a job is not going to get you the job. You have to cater to what they're asking for. And I know it's a tough environment out there. I really do. But if you take the steps and prepare the materials the way they're requesting them, you'll get further in the process. And the one thing with public sector positions is, you know, don't stop applying. You know, you may want to go for not necessarily the top position that you're applying for, or take a position that's in a different department to get your foot in the door. Once your foot is in the door in that system, like at OSU, you can then look for other opportunities. It's easier to transfer into different departments than getting that first job. That first job is the hardest one to get. When you're in there, transferring is a lot easier. And there's also more internal opportunities for employees that are hired in that company, or like at OSU, than there are for those outside of our system. So.
We have a couple hands up. Hannah?
Hi, so I'm an employment specialist, and like today Andrew is looking for a job, and so we're just curious, like when we're looking out for jobs in the public sector, oftentimes they are listed as like full-time positions, and oftentimes a lot of, like, Andrew is looking for a part-time job. A lot of the people that I support are looking for part-time work. And could you speak to as far as like what you've been hearing, or any like labor market trends around like supporting inclusion for people with disabilities, or you know, making space for you know, when you're talking about those minimum qualifications, sometimes I support people who just haven't had that opportunity to get into a job. And so when we're looking at job descriptions, there's a lot of barriers to matching up to those minimum qualifications, because getting work has been so difficult. And so I'm just curious, like, what you've been noticing as far as the trend for diversity and inclusion for specifically the population of people with disabilities.
So with the university, you know, our search committees do not see the information that the applicants fill out regarding disabilities. That's HR's. We take over, or EOA takes over once that person has been offered the position. And then, and it's all about inclusion. We all have placement goals with each position on what is preferred to be hired. So I think people are getting more educated and knowing more about that, because you have an individual with disability does not mean they can't perform the job, right? It's that, okay, what can we do for you to be successful in the position? You know, so I see, I'm hoping that we continue moving forward for these individuals, because they have a lot to offer. Now, when it comes to part-time positions in the public sector, you know, for the most part, we're so overwhelmed with the work that we have that they're full-time positions. But there are opportunities out there. It's just you need to sign up for those job alerts that I'm talking about, because they should have part-time, full-time. And then like us, if you want to be in student affairs, or if you're more administrative, you're going to sign up for those alerts so that you get those notifications. And a lot of the times, have you guys heard about, we use a nonprofit staffing company called Blue Sun here in Corvallis, the Albany area. I'm not sure if they're up in the Portland area, but they are in Bend as well, that identify as, shoot, I'm trying to think, that help individuals with disabilities get that first opportunity. So like our housing and dining department utilizes that service. We do not use a staffing service like Sylvia mentioned that I used to run Select Temp in Albany. We do not use those. They're only the nonprofits like DePaul and there's another one in Salem as well. So when it comes to staffing, we go directly to those businesses to find our temporary candidates, and it gets a foot in the door. So you can prove yourself.
Sylvia, do you have another question or comment?
Yes. Let me lower my hand first before I forget again. Yes. Suppose you don't have like a diagnosis that says you're disabled, but you do have challenges. For example, I have ankylosing spondylitis, which is a degenerative. I don't look like I'm disabled. There are limitations that I have, but I don't have as many as maybe others have. So how would I how would I get that advantage that, or not advantage? How would I get that? I don't know what you called it, but how would I get that?
Placement goal or
Yes.
status? You know, I'm not quite sure. But
I do have a voc rehab case.
Okay. So you know what, when you're filling out the portion of the application, you still have that issue, right? So you're gonna put down that you would need an accommodation if you were placed into that position. And so once you're offered the position, then we would talk with EOA about how to accommodate you in the workplace.
Because I mean, when I can't sit for a long for an extended length of time, and I can't stand for a length of time. So if I were to get an administrative or an office clerk position, I would need to have an adjustable desk that goes up and down so that when I can't sit any longer, I can stand. And then when I can't stand any longer, I can sit. Does that make sense?
It does. I have
Okay.
one of those. So that is where I'm talking about accommodations. You talk with EOA and they make sure that you have that type of system to perform the job at the best of your ability.
Matthew made a note here about getting a doctor's note possibly, but wouldn't that be something more you would give at an interview? It's not really going to be something that you can download on the application, is it?
Well, I can't give it at the interview because the interview is just us seeing if we're a good fit for each other. So I wouldn't do that until after I get hired and I do the onboarding. That's the time when I would do that.
Makes sense. So Emily, you had your hand up earlier. Did we address a question that you had?
Oh, I was just kind of basically saying, agreeing with I think Grace's question, or Hannah's question. So
Okay, so it was supposed to be a thumbs up, not a hands up.
oh, yeah.
Somebody had asked earlier if it was all right if I shared a copy of your PowerPoint presentation with them.
Oh, sure.
Claudia? Okay. And then as I say, this actual recording will also be online, so you could watch it again, but.
Do erase that portion where I stumbled on my thought process.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. That's human. We
Yeah.
don't do a lot of editing, you know, we copy it here on this platform and then We can kind of cut the beginning or the end if there's something that we don't want, but,
I was kidding.
okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, I think actually, earlier someone had said something about the importance of tailoring your application, and I think we can't stress that enough, right? That even though, yes, it is work to find work, that it's worth it,
Mhm.
you know, and we are gonna be much more successful if we take the time and really mindfully answer each question and make sure that we're not just cutting and pasting so that we can quickly get on to something else.
And the right position is going to be there, you know. It's a challenge to go through the application and interviewing process. It really is. You want to be so on, and it incorporates some disappointments, but when you put your best foot out there, the right position will come along for you.
Do you guys offer informational interviews?
Um, I can't, what I like to do, I've reached out to the College of Business because there's they have a human resource management courses, and whenever I'm asked, I reach out to them because the students need experience interviewing before they graduate and go out into the world and try to incorporate what they've learned in the classes. So I always have send those over to the College of Business so they can help. And it helps our students as well.
Yeah. Well, I've done a few as a job seeker, and it was, very helpful for me to figure out whether I really wanted to work for that company or not,
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew I had the skills to fill the position, but then after I did an informational interview, it brought up new questions and new scenarios that I had not thought of.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't know if you guys offered that.
Well, I would be happy to do that. For the majority, I get these questions on LinkedIn all the time of candidates reaching out to me about specific positions. And it's very difficult for me to talk specifics about that department because I haven't actually worked in the department. So, with our interviewing process, it's hard to for candidates to talk to the search committee before the interview. That's why I suggest that you really check out the website and the department. For OSU, we are a land, sun, space, and sea grant university, and we have a lot of research going on that it's always intriguing. If you read our postings on our job board, you'll see that usually a position is there to support this research and the department in making headway on the grants that they have regarding energy. I just shared a program manager position that's supported by the space grant, and this program is going to be for NASA, and it's going to be the students will be engaged in this program as well. But that's the kind of positions we have on campus. And so for me, it's really exciting to know that we're making a difference out in our community and the world.
Absolutely. So Lori, you asked, does Insight participate with Ticket to Work? Do you mean OSU rather than Insight? No, you mean Insight? Okay, we are not a job placement service. Our employment department puts on these kind of events. We put on job fairs, And job seekers that reach out to me, I will gladly do resume review or a cover letter review. I do mock interviews via Zoom if you want to get comfortable. But we don't have individual caseload. So the answer would be no, we do not participate in Ticket to Work.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, anybody else have a question or comment? Any last thoughts, Claudia, tips you want to share? Oh, Pamela has a question. Go ahead, Pamela.
No, I was just sending the clap emoji. Like, bravo, ladies. Thanks for being here. We appreciate your time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.
Sylvia, did you have another question?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my dog to calm down. Sorry. I want to thank you for being a resource to do mock interviews, because online interviews are becoming more and more common. So I appreciate that. I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you to Claudia for taking the time to speak with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sylvia.
Okay.
I wish you all the best of luck in your job hunting, and I hope that you all get the positions that you dream of. That's the most important part, is that you're passionate about what you do.
Absolutely. The same goes for me. That's kind of why we're out here doing this, right? Is we want to help people. We want to give them tools and, try to make their life a little bit easier. As I say, I was a job seeker, and it's not an easy job being a job seeker. And so the more information you have to, do what you need to do, the better off you are.
And you'll feel more confident going into the interview. You'll be more comfortable if you have been prepared to go into that interview process, and you'll be able to speak to the questions asked if you've done your research.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We had a great turnout today, and this has been really informative. Thank you, Claudia, for your insights and wisdom. And I just hope everybody has a great day. And please reach out to Insight if you do have a good, hey, I got my dream job story. We'd love to hear that and hear back from you. So take care, everyone.
Grace,
Yes?
I might email you later. I know you have to go.
Oh,
And
sure, Vince, that's fine. You have my email. Yep.
I have your email because
Yep.
you emailed me yesterday. And anyway, we'll talk later.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Sorry I was late.